Live from WTOC, the Southeast news leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, thanks for joining us here for the news on WTOC Plus. I'm digital anchor Jude Binkley. He sees you when you're sleeping. Who's watching him? Well, every year the team at NORAD tracks Santa and his reindeer route, and our very own Bronte Sorotsky got to speak with some of the NORAD folks. Bronte, I imagine they're pretty busy this time of year, getting ready.
Yes. Well, NORAD, they're always kind of busy with the Department of Defense because year-round they're keeping our skies safe, but once a year they're also making sure that Santa is safe in the sky. So they're getting those preparations underway. They're getting their volunteers ready to answer the phone. It's a pretty big operation that goes into tracking the big guy.
Yeah, and if you've never seen NORAD, it was like a Christmas staple for my family. We'd always pull it up on the computer, check a couple times throughout the night. We lived out west, so whenever he got to the East Coast, that's when my parents told me we had to go to sleep. But Bronte, quick rundown, kind of explain a little bit what NORAD Track Santa actually is.
Yeah, so it all started kind of like an accident. A child called. They thought they were calling Santa to see where he was, but there was a misprint in the paper and it was the number for the Department of Defense. So that child called the Department of Defense asking where Santa was, and the operator on the other end was pretty confused but went along with it, and it became what is now this wonderful tradition of tracking Santa and his whereabouts as he goes around the world.
That's awesome. And we're showing some of the footage that they sent over. It's a call center. It's that website where they've got, live data of where Santa is, how many presents have been delivered. It's a whole operation. And Bronte, this year it's pretty special too because they're celebrating kind of a milestone with tracking Santa.
Yeah, it's a big anniversary for them. It's 70 years of them doing this, so it's pretty cool, and it's exciting that we got to talk to them during this anniversary. You can see we're getting everything prepared, and it takes hundreds of volunteers to do this. You saw some video of them all in the call center answering the call. So a big group effort to do this, but it's a really cool what the result is.
That's awesome. And obviously you can find NORAD Track Santa on Christmas Eve online on the NORAD website, but in case you wanted to throw it up on the big screen, treat it like a Yule log or something, we will have it on the secondary WTOC Plus stream on Christmas Eve. A handful of the stations around here are doing that. And Bronte, certainly excited to see your full segment, your interview with the folks at NORAD. What time can folks watch that?
So this will air today in our 5 and 6 o'clock shows.
Sweet. Looking forward to it, and thanks for joining us with that preview here on Plus.
Thank you.
All right, and we are going to continue with our top headlines for the day here on WTOC Plus because starting today, St. Joseph's Candler will enact visitor restrictions due to the increasing number of flu cases in the region. So the visitor restrictions affect all facilities, including the ones you're seeing on your screen right now. Here's what that means. If visitors have not been vaccinated this season for the flu, or if they have any symptoms of a respiratory illness, then they will be asked to wear a mask. Anyone under the age of 18 is not permitted to visit patients at these facilities during the restriction period. And if anyone is planning to visit one of the facilities and feels sick or has any symptoms, they're asking you to not visit with patients. And speaking of the flu, cases are up around the country. The CDC is reporting more than 4 million cases so far just this season. There's also been 1,900 deaths in the U.S. alone, including 3 children. Doctors and the CDC say the best protection is to get the flu vaccine, but a Johns Hopkins University professor says this year the shot may not be enough because of the dominant strain that's causing this surge.
It has mutations that may allow it to evade some, but not all, of the influenza vaccine-induced protection.
Doctors say people older than 65, children, and those with underlying conditions are particularly vulnerable, especially with millions of people traveling this week for the holidays. We are tracking some developing state news here on WTOC. 3 men are on the run after escaping the DeKalb County Jail early this morning. All 3 men are considered dangerous and potentially armed. They face charges including murder, armed robbery, and arson. Mary Kate Hamilton with our sister station has the latest.
Hey, she heard something in the vents over there by commissary. Hey, go ahead and cut your spotlights off. We don't want them running around. If we heard noises, we want them to stay where they at. Just set up the perimeter and keep eyes on the roof, man.
You just heard dispatch sound from this morning, likely from around the time officers realized these men may have been missing. All of these men have a long rap sheet. Charles Stevenson faces charges in DeKalb County of murder and armed robbery. He was also convicted in 2023 in Florida for carjacking, kidnapping, and robbing 5 victims in Miami, some who he had connected with using the dating app Grindr. Also in 2023, he pled guilty to false imprisonment, aggravated sodomy, 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of armed robbery, and 2 counts of aggravated assault in Gwinnett County. He was ordered to serve a life prison sentence with the possibility of parole. Yusuf Minor is charged with 2 counts of armed robbery and 2 counts of possession of a firearm while committing a felony. In 2024, he was convicted on malice murder, felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm while committing a felony. This after Minor shot and killed a woman in 2022 for stealing a $100 bill from him. And finally, Neod Johannes is charged with simple assault, arson, and unlawful acts of violence in a penal institution. Again, all 3 of these men are considered dangerous and could be armed.
Well, 6 dogs were killed in a house fire in Evans County yesterday. The Evans County Fire Rescue Chief says it happened on Wilton Threat Road, and crews responded to the call just after 5 p.m. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, but the fire chief says it started in the kitchen. The resident of the house was at a neighboring family member's house when they noticed the flames. No humans were injured in the blaze. However, a mother dog and her 5 puppies did die. Officials say the house is a total loss. And on Hilton Head Island, crews responded to a house fire yesterday. It happened just before 11 a.m. on a house on Marshland Road. When crews arrived, they saw a 2-story overparking residence with heavy fire coming from both floors. 3 animals were rescued from the house, and no humans were inside. As you can see, the house did take extensive damage, and crews say the cause of the fire is under investigation. Well, a major jolt is coming to Georgia's power grid. We're talking about enough energy to power all of New York City. The Public Service Commission has unanimously approved a 10-gigawatt boost to the grid to feed data centers across the state of Georgia. Now, our sister station spoke with Commissioner-elect Peter Hubbard about the decision. He says the vote should have been put on hold until he and Dr. Alicia Johnson were sworn in on January 1st. Hubbard, who won one of 2 key PSC seats in November, isn't saying how he would have voted, at least not until he can fully review the process from inside the commission. However, he calls the timing of this vote, quote, strategic and intentional, coming just days before he and Johnson take office.
We're being asked to trust, again, the power company and the commissioners and the staff that this deal is in the best interest of ratepayers, but again, we've heard this story many, many times in the past, and I remain skeptical.
I'm very confident that staff has reached a deal here that provides, takes advantage of all the authorities we have to do just that.
With an estimated price tag of $16 billion, Georgia Power says the new data center build-out will not shift the financial burden onto residential customers or small businesses. Turning now to sports news, Savannah State has just announced its new head football coach. Thomas Howard was picked to lead Tiger Nation after spending last season as the defensive coordinator at Fayetteville State. He was previously the DC at Alabama A&M and South Carolina State, and he won an HBCU national championship at North Carolina A&T. Well, Americans are on the move trying to beat the holiday rush. AAA expects more than 122 million Americans will travel between now and New Year's. That's more than 1/3 of the nation's population. Airlines say they expect to fly nearly 53 million passengers over the holidays, but there have been some major delays and cancellations across the country already. 'Tis the season for CBS News correspondent Chris Van Cleve, who's tracking the travel trends firsthand from Los Angeles.
Deck the airport halls with boughs of flyers as the airlines expect about 2.9 million people a day for the holidays. Not even a widespread power outage in San Francisco could darken holiday spirits for passengers getting ready to start their getaways at SFO.
We're here, hopefully going to make it through security and have a flight in a few hours.
AAA expects the number of flyers to jump 2.3% over last year, despite the potential of winter weather headaches.
People need to have a plan B, at least have an idea. If you get canceled, are you going to rent a car and drive to a different airport? Are you going to just drive back home? Are you going to postpone your trip?
Just in time for the holiday rush, American Airlines is the first U.S. carrier to fly the new Airbus A321 XLR with an upgraded cabin and longer range. The airline expects to fly about 12 million people during the holiday period.
We're just seeing travel pop. It certainly started with Thanksgiving, and we're seeing it through Christmas and through New Year's. We're just really excited for our customers and our passengers to experience our product at a time that is actually most meaningful to them.
AAA is forecasting most Americans, nearly 110 million, will opt to drive, and they'll find gas prices hovering around $2.86 a gallon nationally, down almost 20 cents from last year. Guy and Alyssa Sims were driving from Philadelphia to Hackensack, New Jersey on Sunday, sharing hopeful advice for other drivers.
Take your time, enjoy the ride, don't get all bent out of shape.
Our AAA expects the next real busy period of this rush to come between Christmas and New Year's, particularly that Friday and Sunday between the two holidays. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And in consumer news, this holiday season, you and your neighbor could be shopping for the exact same item, but paying different prices. Consumer advocates say surveillance pricing may be to blame. That's a practice that uses your personal data when you shop online. CBS's Evan Moon explains.
You may be shopping for gifts from the comfort of your couch, but stores can still see who you are.
Most of these companies are charging you a different price based on some data they have about you. It could be your location, it could be your proximity to the store, it could be your shopping history, knowing that you bought a product previously and are willing to pay for it again.
It's a practice most people aren't aware of. Do you know what surveillance pricing is?
No,
never heard of it. What is it?
Consumer Watchdog President Jamie Court says surveillance pricing is nearly impossible to avoid.
You know, you can try to limit how much information they have about you, but the genie's out of the bottle, unfortunately.
Court says his organization has evidence all the major retailers use personal algorithms to nudge a price up or down, targeting data from your Amazon cart, Uber rides, or even the brand of laptop you're using to shop.
No, it wouldn't surprise me, but I would probably monitor pricing on a general basis more frequently.
And for those traveling for the holidays,
airlines will charge you a different price depending upon how many times you go to the website.
He says using a private browsing mode is one strategy.
It used to be you had to shop around to get the best price. Now you have to shop around and pretend you're not you. It's nuts.
But Jameson Spivak with the Future Privacy Forum says all the data collection could mean lower prices for some frequent shoppers.
Personalized pricing can benefit consumers through individualized discounts or loyalty programs that reward consumers for repeat business.
Currently, there is no federal regulation for companies that use surveillance pricing. We reached out to the FTC, who has been investigating this practice. A spokesperson said no comment. Evan Moon, CBS News, New York.
And finally, even if you're a mean one and even if it's officially wintertime, it can be pretty hard to resist the allure of blizzards and burgers. And as it turns out, that led to the undoing of one infamous holiday villain caught by the Colquitt County Sheriff's deputies. Sheriff's Office announced they arrested Mr. Grinch at a Dairy Queen on Sunday morning. The Sheriff's Office received a tip that he might have been there. Corporal Abby Tucker and Deputy Colt Valdez sprung into action and grabbed the notorious bad boy, taking him out of the scene, as you can see right there. All right, and with that, we are going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. We appreciate you spending part of your afternoon with us. We'll be back at the top of the hour for another round of stories. Tyler Mannion will join us with another pretty fun story he's doing with some sheriff's deputies locally right here on the coast. And in the meantime, you can always head on over to our website to catch the latest updates at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and here's Local News Live.